Hello, listeners. This is Chris Frederick from the Stretch to Win Institute, and I have a guest today, Swani. Is that how you say it, Swani?
Nsuani.
Nsuani. You do say the in. Okay. My wife was like, it's Swani. And I'm like, I think it's Nsuani. But here we
Well,
go.
and calls me Swanee, so it makes sense.
She does, right. But I have Swani on the FaceTime video interview we're doing here to tell a fantastic story about how he has used fascial stretch therapy in a very unique, special charity event. But first, let's get to know him. So, Swani, welcome. And I've heard many great things about what you just did. It was just what, a few weeks ago?
Yes.
Okay. So, why don't you get off by saying, what you do and, where you work and what led up to this charity event in brief?
Perfect. Yeah. So I'm a personal trainer for the last 7 years and fascial stretch therapist for the last 4 years. I was lucky enough to take my level one with you and Anne in 2010. So that was a great experience. Although I am a personal trainer, my 9 to 5 or my focus of my job is actually development and management of other personal trainers.
Hmm.
So I have 34 trainers that work for me at the Goodlife 137 Younge Street location, which is in the middle of downtown Toronto in the financial district. We were fortunate to be a top club last year for all of 330 clubs of Goodlife. We have a rocking department that's constantly full of people coming in and out every day training. We log about 30,000 hours a year of personal training
Wow.
and treatment like FST. So definitely a big club, and I'm happy to be leading a great team of practitioners. And on our team, we actually have about 60% of our guys FST certified.
Really? That's fantastic.
Yes.
So, I got word that you were contacted by someone and you based on a charity event for some unfortunate kids, I guess it was, that have different diseases or disorders. So, would you kindly explain like how this happened? You said someone contacted you, and why did this person contact you? For this event.
Awesome. So Ronald McDonald House reached out. A young lady by the name of Laura Vickers had heard some good stuff about our gym and a reputation that we built in the community, and really wanted someone to come in to help out with the parents at Ronald McDonald House for just their fitness and health, kicking off into January 2015. With Ronald McDonald House, because it has the name McDonald's,
Right.
it's often swept aside. People think, oh, they must be fine. McDonald's is involved. They must have a lot of money. And
Mm-hmm.
I toured the house and saw what they do there. It was kind of a surprise to see. Although McDonald's is very generous, they're actually more generous with just leveraging their community partnerships, not really with financial help.
Right.
So they're in need like any other charity would be in need. And the house is set up for families who have kids that are going through some sort of terminal illness or treatment for a very serious disorder, leukemia, cancer, transplants,
Wow.
things along those natures, where they have to be in the hospital many days a week for multiple hours.
Mm.
And the house was kind of a safe haven for them to come back and sleep in a real room at night, cook their own meals. They have a gym in an area so that they can work out. They
Hmm.
have an entertainment area that's built like a living room.
Wow.
The families can actually have some downtime.
Mm-hmm.
And personal story, my nephew is in remission from leukemia for 3 years now, thank God.
Yeah.
But I remember during that time how everything stood still. You
Yeah.
didn't take care of yourself. You didn't take care of anything else but your child that was in need. And
Sure.
sleeping in seats by the bed or sleeping in cots or even sleeping on the floor, your body really gets banged up and you don't really think about the things that you should be. Stress is at a high level. You're not eating properly.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to come in and really help, but we didn't want to come in with the hard training edge of making people do things like sweating and jumping and
Yeah.
squatting.
Yeah.
So FST was the perfect fit for that. We brought some tables in and we did some LifeStretch. We gave them some tools that they can help as far as increasing their mobility, keeping their flexibility, de-stressing themselves down after a long day in the hospital. Then we throw them on the table and made them feel really good for the day.
So, tell me a little bit more about like what's the age range? How many kids did you work on, and how much time did you did you do the core four on the table? Did you kind of hit a few areas? Were you able to assess a little bit, their needs?
Yeah, great question. So there's about 80 families in the home.
Wow.
About 15 participants took place in total. So what we did was we divided our practitioners. We had 9 people, including myself, at the event, which was amazing. So we took some people into a LifeStretch led by Kevin Darby, and then we took some people and assessed really quickly and put them on a table, give them some lateral line, some very simple things to help them feel a little bit better in the moment.
Wow.
And then gave them some techniques like the core 4 that they can use to keep some of those gains going on.
So you had multiple stations going on.
Multiple stations. It was kind of like just a stop in and get a little bit of each. You can get a little taste of it.
A little FST circuit training.
Absolutely. That's what it was like. It was awesome.
Wow. And so what was the outcome? How did they feel when they got off the table? Because these kids were in the hospital. What age range are they? Like a big mix from very young to very older? Or?
There was kids there as young as 3 months.
Wow.
All the way up to about 10 to 13.
Okay. And obviously they get deconditioned. I mean, disease knocks you down, and these kids have some serious diseases.
Yes.
And oftentimes they're told not to push it too much because it's extra stress on their heart, their liver, their organs. So, wow. I mean, how did they feel after they got off the table? I mean, they're kids, so normally kids feel fine anyway. You know, we usually work on kids in pre-professional athletics, right? And they're getting like adult injuries. But these kids are different. They have different needs. How can you say anything about speak on their comments or how they felt when they got off the table, how they walked or anything like that?
Well, the amazing thing about the kids is that they're resilient. You wouldn't even know they're going through some of the stuff that they've actually taken on.
Yeah.
Amazing about
Wow.
kids. What we really focused on the parents, and what you can really find, and what you saw was they were able to relax much more. They were able to feel better, walk around, feel some changes in their range of motion in their hips, which in turn helps the kids because when the parents are a little more relaxed, the parents can actually, take some time off for themselves. They're going to translate that on.
You saying that you actually worked on the parents too?
Oh, yeah, we worked on all the parents. Yeah, the kids were more involved with LifeStretch. They got on the mats and did some stuff, but this was focused directly to the parents.
It makes sense. It's like if, you would give ice cream only to the kid and you wouldn't give it to the parents. It's like you got to give some FST, a little love to everybody there.
A little love to everybody there. And the next day. Oh, sorry, Chris.
Not at all. That's cool. That is so cool.
The talk the next day at breakfast was that the parents, got a great night's sleep, and they were just beaming the next day and ready to take on whatever they had to challenge, whatever challenge was for that day.
Well, obviously, you spread a lot of goodwill. You actually help people with what you did. You help the parents. You help the kids. But what's the outcome later? Have you heard from any of them on any level? Or from the person who originally contacted you, from any of these people? Have you heard anything? What's the feedback and the outcomes, if there are any?
Absolutely. So we got a response right away the next morning by 10. I got to my office. There was a couple of emails sent in already. And we're setting up a 12-week program for once a week, one of the practitioners to go in and lead a little more of a core 4 group stretch type deal. And if anybody wants to see one of our guys solely, they can come to the club, which isn't far away. But we organize it so that with 8 people, 12 weeks, everybody goes once every 8 weeks. So it's not a huge commitment on our parts, trainers.
You guys rotate and you volunteer your time.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I know you have a huge audience. I know there's a lot of people from Toronto and the GTA that are going to see this podcast, this message. So I want to call to action to anybody who's touched or moved or inspired by the work we did. Reach out to myself, you, and get involved, because the more people we have, it's a lot easier to lift the heavy load with more hands.
Yeah. Well, can you, I'm going to get to a little bit in a few minutes about where they can contact you so you can give them that information. In terms of, okay, so right now it's a volunteer situation, and I think the news in the community is big, because people hear, we all need to make a living. We all, the Goodlife Fitness, and everyone has to make a profit of some kind to make a living and to run the club. But there's nothing like providing that extra, going that extra mile or kilometer in Canada, to help people. And Ann and myself, when we had our clinic, we always gave away some treatment. We always had a freebie, and it was based on need. We would have someone come in, and it's like they didn't have the money, they really needed the service, and you just connected with that person. For us, it was on an individual level. or a client would say, you know, there's this person that really could use a service. They don't have much money or any money. Just see them once and give them a home program or a few times. They would really appreciate it. And you're right. I mean, it goes so far beyond, you know, and then other people hear about it and the community really thinks very highly of a company and the professionals work in the company that it's not just profit motive. You know, you're there really to make an impact in the community that's long lasting and it spreads out.
Absolutely. And what was even more special to me about this whole experience is a lot of the feedback I got were from the guys I've been working with for years. And
Really?
they shared stories I didn't even know. So, I mean, the next morning I got a text from the people, my practitioners who were there saying, you know what, I had a cousin that passed 10 years ago, and this was something that I really appreciate you setting up. And another person said, you know, they lost a niece a few years back. And you forget about these things happen to everybody on both sides. And I think we all can connect some way, somehow from being affected by terminal illness, especially with children.
Yeah, it sounds like if you hadn't done this, you wouldn't have found those things out. And after finding those things out and sharing it with everyone, you guys probably got a little closer
100%.
as a team. And, you know, we're always trying to make the team closer. It's like, how do we do this? You know, events and going out, picnics, whatever. This, helping other people together and then talking about our own personal experiences with terminal illnesses and our own families. Wow, that hits it at a whole nother level.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thanks for sharing. I mean, I'm so proud of you as one of our graduates doing this with the other graduates. It's really fantastic. I'm getting goose pimples just thinking about, you know, what you've done and what you've accomplished. And I really encourage others to contact you if they're interested in this particular charity event or whatever you want to call it. I'll have you explain it. And others who want to even start their own. So feel free at this time to give any contact information where people could get locally involved. I guess they're right there on Younge Street.
Yes.
And beyond.
So great. So on Facebook here, you can just add on to my name, Nsuani Baffoe, which I'm sure will be on your link.
Yeah.
Today. Alternatively, we have our own page, 137 Goodlife Personal Training Department.
Okay.
Or you can reach me at nsuani.baffoe@goodlifefitness.com. I'll be working with another FST graduate, Cheyenne Forsyth, and she'll be really spearheading up a community initiative so that we can hit different events and be at different areas that are needed where FST is needed, which in our opinion is just about everywhere.
Yeah.
So we're really looking for a good movement coming into the spring and summer months of people looking to volunteer their time and to share this awesome protocol that you and I put together that's changing the world literally.
Well, thank you. It is awesome, and our students and graduates are doing awesome things, and this is a great example of that. Can you do us a favor and just spell out Nsuani for those who
Absolutely.
your contact information.
Absolutely. So NSUANI.Baffoe BAFFOE @goodlifefitness.com.
Yeah, you won't forget that.
There's only one in Nsuani. Yes.
So, Nsuani, it's been a pleasure spending this time with you. Thank you so much on this Sunday morning to share this with others. And I can't wait to see what the impact is for others to either contact you or start their own charity event and get involved. It's February. We got the whole year ahead of us. So I think we should all just make some kind of a commitment to, you know, help others on an individual level, whether it's one person, you know, you just give a little, or whether you attach yourself to a more organized charity event like what you guys have done. So thanks again. I'm looking forward to staying in touch with you. And thank you, listeners, for checking in with Chris Frederick Stretch to Win Institute, www.stretchtowin.com, with Nsuani Baffoe. Goodlife Fitness. Take care now. All right, you too.